Hi, everyone, and welcome to the LVA podcast with me, Louis Van Amstel. And oh my gosh, this podcast is very special in so many ways. My guest today is my former student, my friend, my former competitive dance partner, Miss Joanna Leunis. Hi, Joanna.
I
I am
already
so
have
excited
goosebumps.
you're on my podcast.
I'm not as much as me. I'm already full of shivers when you said all these things. Thank you for
Ha,
having me, Louis. Thank you. You know
it's
how much you mean to
it's
me.
well, likewise. I've known you since I believe you were 13 or 14.
Yeah.
And we don't
Wow.
have to talk about, I mean, I'm open about my age. I'm 52 now. So
Wow. You
um,
haven't
it's been
changed.
a long time because I met you when I was in my 20s.
Please. Yeah, I know.
So,
I mean,
and
you were my childhood idol. You were my everything. You were my dream. So
oh,
when I
that's sweet of
started,
you to say.
it's true.
It, we have so much to talk about, and I have a feeling that we have to do a part two and part three in the future. But
Maybe.
just because, you know, I live in the United States, you live in the United Kingdom, you're from
Mhm.
Belgium, I'm from Holland,
And
but most people that watch my podcast are international, but mostly American, and it comes, being on Dance with the Stars,
yeah.
since 2005. So I just want to share um, with the viewers that don't know much about you. Um, Joanna became Belgium champion pretty much the moment she started dancing at 14.
That's not so
And then
difficult.
you became world champion in 2000 in Miami. How do I
Mhm.
know that? Because that was the first year I danced with Karina Smirnov. Uh, we became national champion of the United States, and you and Slavik, your partner, became world champion in 2000, amateur
Mhm.
Latin. And then in 2001, you and I danced together for a year and a half, professional.
Yeah.
And then our coach, which I don't even know, I want to go back to Blackpool 2001. And the week after, I had a conversation with Ruth Vermey, which was our coach, who has been my only coach, and I believe yours too.
Yes.
Anyway, I want to wrap all of this
Absolutely.
up. But then again, in 2001, we danced together for a year and a half. And towards the end of our partnership, we did a Broadway show together
Yes.
in New York City. And
Incredible,
then
incredible
I would
experience.
like I would like for you to share how many dang times have you become world professional champion and Blackpool champion? Please take it away. You got 5 minutes.
Well, I mean, count everything together. I don't know. I've never counted them, but Blackpool is definitely eight professional, one amateur. So the record is the eight times professional in Blackpool champion. And you know, Blackpool, what it means for all of us. And then, of course, you have 10 times international, 10 times UK, and five times altogether world professional, including, of course, show dance and yeah, show dance, and then the open professional. So yeah, altogether, I don't know. I can't count. I'm very bad at math.
So,
But
ladies and gentlemen, you just met Joanna Leunis, the kindest, the sweetest, and the most understated human being. And I'm going to repeat that. 8-time professional Blackpool champion. Now, Blackpool is higher than the World Championships. And why is that? Because at the World Championships, only the top two couples from each country can participate. In the Open British Championships, the Wimbledon of ballroom dance sport in Blackpool,
Mhm.
England, anyone can join. So this means the third couple of a country or fourth couple of a country can also join. So to win that one 8 times. And then we have two other major competitions in the International Royal Albert Hall in October. You just quickly slip through, you won that 10 times.
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
the
yeah.
United Kingdom Championships in Bournemouth in January, the third of the largest, also 10 times. And
Yeah,
then last but not least, 5-time world professional Latin champion. My
yeah.
partner and I, Julie Fryer, as amateurs, made it to 2 times and then 1-time show dance world champions in '96. And you decided, no, once, twice, 3, 4, it's not enough, 5 times.
No,
And I
not.
think
I mean, not in the pro division. It's all together, including the world showdowns. So that's I'm also counting, of course, the world showdowns, but the open
it's,
professional, it was 2 times, I think, 2 or 3 professional open, and three professional open and two showdowns. To be clear, so
and,
there is
and
no
I'm glad that you
representation.
specify that and you say show dance.
Yeah,
For everyone that doesn't understand show dance within the ballroom dance industry, show dance is where you're the only couple on the floor. You get about 3 minutes and a few seconds where you can choose the music, you choose the
yeah,
theme, you choose the costume, you choose everything. There are rules, but you are allowed to lift and all that. Now, and
yes,
this is where YouTube Joanna Leunis, and you'll see the diversity and the trained dancer that she is. You are so diverse in your training. You are I would say, the most flexible dancer we've ever had in our industry. Together, I would say, with Julie, who also had a lot of training,
right.
ballet training. You're doing. Can you tell us a little bit more about your upbringing as a dancer besides ballroom dancing?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What other dance forms did you train?
Of course, yeah. I mean, yeah, I came originally more from the jazz department, jazz, modern, ballet. So this was in my early stage of dancing, I started with jazz and ballet. And also, as far as I can remember, I was always dancing with my dad, with my granddad in his wheelchair. So I also loved the partner dance, but I had no idea what ballroom dancing was all about. In Belgium, it was basically unknown. So yeah, so I started with jazz, with modern. That already gave me a bit of an understanding of I could do with my body. And I was very much into the pas de deux. I loved watching pas de deux on television. Béjar was very popular in Belgium. So I was a big fan of modern dance as well. And I loved it very much. But of course, like as you know, and maybe not many people know, in the early part of my life, I encountered quite a few challenges. One was the blood disease that was discovered in me. I was also in my first year of school. I was very badly bullied. So all this anyway. I never even talked about that, but that built a bit my strength, let's say. And then the double scoliosis as well. So for a while, I couldn't dance because of my health issue. So it had to stop for a little bit. But then as soon as I found out this beautiful world of ballroom dancing, that's when I got hooked. And then I zoomed very much into the ballroom dancing, but of course came with a background of theater and jazz and modern. And I was quite already, capable of doing things. But about the flexibility, I think it's actually much more to do with the fact that I had the double scoliosis, and because of that, I trained twice as hard to keep my back quite flexible and to keep a sense of mobility to my spine. So I guess that in that sense, it was quite heavy scoliosis actually, but because of that, I pushed myself to the limit, so that maybe came out as a plus later on in some ways.
Well, I wanted to dive deeper into this later, but since you brought it up, I
Sorry.
want to. No, please don't be sorry. This is why we're having a conversation. This is very organic, and we know each other for a long time. So it's when things come up, they come up. But when you say blood disease,
Yeah.
is it fair to say that that was leukemia?
Yeah, it was very strong. It started off as an infection in my blood, but then it was killing the red cells basically. So the white cells were then taking over. I always mix these two up.
Yeah,
I
and
think the opposite, the other way around. Anyways, my immune system became so weak that it was the beginning of a leukemia. It was an early stage, very early stage. So they caught it quite on time. I was very, very lucky, and I was under treatment for a year and a half. Intensive treatment at home. I couldn't go out. I couldn't dance. I had to be immune from all the bacteria and all the viruses and germs.
wow.
That was
And
quite,
you
yeah, sorry.
you mentioned that was your first year of school. So how old were you when you
No,
were diagnosed with this disease?
no, that wasn't the first year of school. That's another story that
Oh,
happened.
okay.
Um, this was in my third year of school, so third primary. So I was between like 7.5 till about 9.
I mean, for 2
Yeah,
years you've been fighting
yeah,
this horrible blood disease, and
yeah.
then you get diagnosed with
Double
double
scoliosis.
scoliosis. And
Yeah,
just for people that don't understand double scoliosis, it's pretty much two curves
yeah,
that are sideways. So normal human being has a little arch in the lower back and then a curve in the upper back.
yeah.
And Joanna had that plus two curves
Yeah,
sideways.
actually,
I mean,
it's quite special because in some ways it gave me an extra flexibility on one side, but only, yeah, I worked on strengthening, on working on strengthening different sides, but the deviation was over 60% when I came out, and probably also because I had been for such a long time in bed with a blood issue. So that of course didn't help. I stayed mobile for too long, and immobile for too long. So that of course didn't help, and so the deviation was at a high percentage, over 60%. And basically the doctor told my parents that I needed iron bar in my back. And that's when I just told my mom and dad that I disagree. I would never. I wanted to dance, and they should not agree. They shouldn't listen to that professor. He was a specialist professor who truly believed that I needed to have the iron bar in my back. Otherwise, I would. After a couple of years, I would not be able to walk or something. So yeah, I
I have
went
a
against.
question for you. I am so proud of you and admire you for
Or
saying no to a professor.
yeah,
Now, have you seen this professor in the last 10 years? And have
no,
you shared with him? Um, by the way, you wanted to put a rod inside of me and look at who I
yeah.
became, and what I am doing right now. No?
No,
Don't
actually, no.
you?
I spoke about this with my mom, and she reminded me that he found out because he kept track. He made even videos of my back and my spine, and he agreed. I mean, he didn't agree. He accepted the answer of my parents of not going through the operation, and then he asked to keep him updated how I would be doing. And I think my parents kept him a bit updated, showing him, after a couple of years later, pretty quickly later on, I became world champion. So I think they sent him the news. So we did keep a little bit of contact, but not me. I was I gladly separated from that guy. I remember. I remember.
Which, this
Uh,
is one thing I want to share to young dancers that are listening or watching. I believe of myself, I've always said, I will not be a political dancer. I will not be used for political reasons. Let the dancing do the talking. And
mm,
one of the reasons why I respect you so much
mm,
is because you are the poster child. If you know you, or you see you and you don't know you, you will be in the back room quietly watching You would never be the entitled person in the front showing, here I am. No. But the moment there's a dance floor and it is time to dance, you will be front and center and let the body and the dancing do the talking. And I've known you now for probably over 30 years. And
Yeah.
you now, as an adult, have not changed one bit. And you have the most respect from me.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Louis.
We need more people like you in our dance industry. I'm getting emotional. Ah!
Me too.
Well,
so
it's
nice.
partly because I know your story about the leukemia. Of course, I love your parents. Your father is in another place, guiding you along, but
Yeah.
your mom is still with you. I want to talk about her later in a minute, and of course, Leah.
Yeah.
But the
But you know,
determination that you have, and you've always had it,
yeah.
and it was sometimes misunderstood. And you mentioned before we started, we had a little giggly moment because
Yeah.
I was talking about the lighting behind you, and I told our producer, yeah, Miss Perfectionist here. And you said, oh, no, 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 I'm not as perfectionist as you.
You are
And I don't believe it. You are more of a perfectionist than me. But then
Oh,
you slurred something in between. Oh, I'm no longer that perfectionist. And I find that an important thing
yeah.
because there is a side of me when knowing you also sometimes felt stuck emotionally, that you felt you have to do it. You have to do it, not even because of pressure of your parents or Ruth Vermey or your partner. You did that to yourself.
Yeah. It's
So
true, actually.
hearing
And
you say what you said, well, I'm no older, no, it's no longer. So what happened? What
yeah,
is
and
different now?
you were the only one who could really nail the little trigger inside of me, because you knew exactly that I was I a bit struggled with that, and you would like push me out of my comfort zone, actually. And yeah, I mean, that I guess it is this thing of wanting to prove to this professor that I could do it. I did not maybe speak about that yet, but in my first year of primary school, I was badly bullied by the teacher, and I had a tic even. So after a year, my first year primary school, I'm just a child, and we were two kids in that class that she took, for some reason, she took like in a bad way. She somehow did not like us, and this is true story. And after that year, I went to see a therapist, and this boy, actually, I had contact later on. He was worse than me, and he also went to see a therapist, and she basically really put my level of beliefs quite low, and I became very introvert and insecure, and I had a constant tic after that, which kept repeated itself for maybe half a year. And then the next year at school, I had an amazing teacher who changed everything around, and I regained my confidence. But I wanted to prove to her that I could become someone, that I could make something out of myself, because she used to tell me that you'll never do anything out of your life. You'll never, you
Are
will
you
be
kidding
bad.
me?
No, I never actually spoke. I don't know. I somehow, in this dance world, everything happens so fast. I'm so blessed that the beginning of my life, let's say the first 12 years, were quite tough, but after that, all the success and all the happiness of dancing came along and came to me. So I even blocked it away, but she had a very, very strong impact on me. So this lady, she would say, you'll be lucky if you finish your high school. I don't think you will, and blah blah. Anyway, it was very heavy. She would then tell my mom that I don't do anything at school, but I was just 6 years old, so it was the
Are you
beginning of.
kidding me? I hear
Yeah.
sometimes teachers too. We had it with Daniel just before his adoption, that a substitute teacher decided to, wanted to take away his dream. And luckily, you had the other teacher that was there. But the point here is
Yeah.
that in our young lives, things happen, and then later in life, if we don't process it, we don't talk about it, it
Yeah.
becomes a trigger later in life, and then we don't really know why. I
Actually,
mean, this is something now, having been with you, getting in the plane for 12 hours to Japan, China. I mean, we've been all over,
yeah.
even in the year and a half. And then, of course, when you're 14, I was your coach before you went to Route Vermeer.
Yeah.
And the introversy, it being introvert, I can now see 100% that was thanks to that idiot of a teacher. But wouldn't you agree? Now that I knew about the leukemia, the double scoliosis, and I've said it before, the respect for your work ethics, unbelievable. But now adding the teacher at 6 years old, would you agree now, looking back, that you almost want to thank the
Yeah.
teacher because it made you work even harder? And then
Yes.
later in life, you realize, I don't have to prove myself to anyone. Now
Yeah.
it's time to
Right.
just enjoy what you do for that sake. I mean, you look fantastic.
Thank
But
you.
do you feel better
Um,
as a human
yes,
that you can
absolutely.
talk about it freely and not feel judged that you were bullied as a child?
Well, that is something I've never actually spoken about to anyone. Only I did speak about it with Ruth. So I think, yeah, Ruth is a bit the guardian of all that, and he knew. But
Amen.
yeah, so and I guess I would have spoken about it with you, but we were just so busy with 150 things and running around everywhere that it was just like no time to, even though we would spend many many hours, we had so many things to deal with, and you especially. So, and I didn't think it was that important, but now I realize, probably also after having my daughter, and also after going through a lot of anxiety when she went to her first school, I was in bits myself. I was so scared that she would go through the same thing, so I checked all the teachers.
Yeah.
I
Good
went
for
and
you. I mean,
scanned everybody.
that makes you a good mom, a great parent. It's sad that it triggers you again, that you're nervous, but then again, you turned that around and made sure that those teachers treated your Leah with respect and that she came home happy.
Yeah.
And how did she come home that first day?
Oh, she had the most amazing first part of school. So she went here in the school. It starts very early. I think she was already 2.5 with pre-nursery, then nursery, then reception, and so she's been already at school for quite many years, for over 5 years already. But everything so far has been perfect. She's a very good student. She's very hardworking little girl, reasonable. She likes school. She's amazing at maths. I think that's because of my mom, because my mom specialty was maths. So my mom has shared.
Ah,
Yeah, so
can
that's
she can she come here for a few months and teach my son Daniel math because he is ay, ay, ay. But so Leah, how old is Leah now?
she's 8.
8 years old.
A little
And
bit 8.
so again, many people know you, but the people that watch Dancing with the Stars here don't know much about you. You are a single mom now, 8-year-old
Yes.
daughter. You travel the world. We've been, so just for everyone, to get a date and time to do this podcast was quite a task. But you are
Oh,
now in London.
yeah.
I'm here in Utah, and we made it happen.
Yeah.
So, but you just came back from a week in China, and
Yeah.
that's just one example. I want to talk about your mom. Where would you
Ah,
be at
without
this
my mom.
point with
That,
that golden mother of yours?
absolutely. I mean, she's one of a kind. I think there is only, I mean, of course, your mom is very similar. I From the memories that I have about my mom, yeah, of course I can talk about my mom. She just has no life of her own. Her life is our life. So it was my life, and now it's Leah's life. She dedicated, of course, herself first to my dad, and to her life with my dad. But then my dad passed away, and then she took she agreed. It was actually Michael's idea in the past. It was his idea to bring my mom over since my dad had passed away, so my mom could look after Leah while we would be working and running around if we had to. So and then the next chapter was unexpected, as you know. So the things turned out slightly differently, but my mom's been around, and thank God for that, because I wouldn't know how else I would manage everything on my own, basically, with a child, so with no support or nearly next to nothing.
And to me, being a single dad or divorced and having my mother help, it's, forever being grateful that we have our moms that can help. But again, you slipped in the name Michael. I just want to share with everyone that Michael Malatovsky was Joanna's professional dance partner, also partner in life, and is the father of Leah. We're keeping it very, very positive. So we're not going to that hellhole you went through. Unfair, unjust.
I like that.
It's,
Come on,
it's...
Louis, you've always been a bit of a rebel.
Me? No, I'm a dad. I'm a soccer dad. No, I'm kidding. They don't even like soccer. But it's just, your mom, and again, for the young dancers, parents that are watching this, it's a balance as a parent.
True.
Are you the helicopter parent, the momager, the dadager, where you are pretty much controlling everything about your child? So in other words, you are living your dream through your child. Now,
actually,
your mom,
no,
in my opinion, was that perfect balance. Maybe one of your other partners didn't think so, but when I was your teacher, she was never interfering. She listened, was always very open to support, but never interfere. And I think that also contributed to that you can just focus on you rather than you're being pushed by your parents.
Yes,
and I really admire that in your mom. Do you feel it that way? Or do you feel pushed sometimes?
No, absolutely. I mean, first of all, my mom was not a dancer. She never wanted really me to dance. She knew it was stronger than her. I was going to dance no matter what, so she could jump on her head. I was going to be a dancer. So she had no power over this. But then she also knew that she would always support me, and she was always there, but she was never in a way or interfering or telling me what to do. She let me fly and do my own thing and follow my guidance, and she never had to push me, because I was pushing myself like 3 people would push behind.
I know. I was there.
So I was too ambitious. So of course she was very protective and very caring, and maybe slightly over anxious about things, but she also knew that I could cope with everything and I would handle things. So absolutely the right balance, totally.
Yeah, and again, there are moms, they go too far sometimes, and then we just have to say, okay, it's time to take a back seat. And
I can't really do with my mom.
Yeah. Do you feel sometimes, now I'm going really personal, I feel sometimes with my mom here, and I love her to death, but I sometimes had to have the conversation, hey, mom, you're grandma, you're oma, not mother. Here I am, father and mother at the same time. Do you feel the same sometimes, that you feel like you have to tell your mom the difference between grandma versus mother?
Well, I am not as straightforward as you are, I think. I'm not as direct as you are, but I mean, I've accepted, because of the fact that I have no choice. I have to travel so much to to earn the sufficient amount that is needed to provide for not only Leah but also for my mom, because of the situation of what I went through. My mom lives on my account, which is not her fault. She just, because of what happened in the past, in the recent years, she
Yeah,
gave her house away to us, and obviously I had to give that half to the other half. So obviously my mom ended up without any savings. So now I'm taking care of my mom. So of course, because of that, she's very, very active with Leah, taking care, because I have to travel a lot and I have to be quite busy with providing. But in that way, we have kind of a deal that when I'm home, I am the mom, and I'm definitely nurturing and close and bonding with Leah, and my mom in that sense give us the space very well, and she
that's
knows
great.
yeah, even though she doesn't drop her duties. Let's say in terms of cooking, I better leave her in the kitchen and not interrupt, because that's otherwise causing troubles.
Are you
And
saying you're not a good cook?
also that, but I think I would enjoy if I had the space and the possibility to do it. But anyway,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
besides
And
this,
also you, I mean, of course you are wanted everywhere. You are a former multi world champion, but and just to confirm, um, your mom, I know your parents dedicated so much financially so you could just dance. My parents did the same.
mm,
Unfortunately, not all the talented dancers are lucky that way. But I do want to share with young dancers and parents that say, yeah, well, your parents had money they can pay. Yes, they did. But there are more world champions that didn't have that situation than world champions that had the
mm,
financial backup of
yeah,
parents. Did
but
it make it
also
a little easier for us? Maybe. But then again, whoever's telling you, well, my parents had money, they could help. Yeah, but they didn't have leukemia or double scoliosis or were bullied at 6 years old at school. So, it's a balancing act of
yeah,
how do triggers affect us as dancers. Now, look, we have 5 more minutes.
yeah,
But I already know we're going to have to do a follow up. So much to talk about. And what I love is that we're just talking more about what made you the dancer that you are, having be able to have a platform to
hmm,
share things that can really help young dancers. The moment you said being bullied at 6 years old, how many kids are being bullied? And if they hear that the former world champion, 8-time Blackpool Pro champion, was bullied at 6 and was as successful as you,
mm,
how inspirational can that be? It's freeing for you, it's therapeutic for you, but
yeah, yeah.
it's
Well,
it's it's amazing. I want to actually go into the last 3 years of your dance career because
hmm,
again, I admire you, but I have to be honest and frank about something.
yeah,
So I saw you, what, 2 years ago in LA. You did a
hmm,
show,
yeah,
and it
yeah,
was theater arts. It was not professional Latin.
yeah.
It wasn't even a Latin show. You did theater arts with
Well,
Victor,
yes, with
a gorgeous man, and has done theater arts. What made you decide to want to go into theater arts in front of the same people that have seen you become world champion?
yeah. Well, actually, I never really thought about this. I never planned it, to be honest. But things after COVID, things kind of shifted in a ways that during COVID, I was very active online, and then I started connecting with another dancer, and we started thinking of potentially doing shows together. And yeah, one thing led to another. We ended up in Blackpool, and Victor was also there. And I don't remember whether it's him or myself who suggests, why don't we try a few lifts with Victor so we can see how it feels. And that's when then Victor found out that I was back on the race, basically on the performing race. And anyways, nothing came out of this. But then the shows with, it was Maurizio, so probably.
I was going to ask, are you free to share that it was
Yeah,
Maurizio? Because you told me this, I knew this.
yeah, he's a close friend, and we always connected even when we competed together. So we tried to put few numbers together, but long story short, it never came to the actual thing because he was too busy and our schedule didn't match. So we ended up not doing anything, and then Victor then asked Maurizio, "Are you actually gonna do something with Joanna?" And he said, "No, it's not gonna happen." And so Victor contacted me and said, "Are you interested?" Or he actually said it this way: um, "Take your no. What did he say? Take some practice wear with you in Blackpool or something like this." And I said, "Should I take my shoes as well?" And basically that was the message to have a tryout.
So very organic, it happened, and boom, from one thing led to the other. So, and this is why I wanted to bring it up. So I saw you perform, I think it was 5 months after your first time in Blackpool, and you came and do a show, Few Dances with Victor.
Yeah.
And then I saw it, and I was worried because you are known for choreography. Unique. There's only one in the world that does it, and that's you. And then I just was worried for you when I saw it. I thought, "Oh, this is not the level I know that you bring." And also that was a little bit whoever I talked to, because this is a ballroom dance competition. They know you as the 5-time world professional champion, and here was more, yeah, it's a fun thing. I mean, you take it serious. And the reason why I bring it up, but I didn't tell you that, because I didn't know how to. And then I toyed with this, so I've not shared this with you. I've toyed with this. I even talked to Rumjana, a very close mutual friend. She's from Holland. She's a dear friend of mine, one of my closest friends. And so we both know Rumjana. So I talked with her about it. And I should have called you before, but then, you came out with a video of the next show that you created with Victor. And I thought, this is the Joanna that I knew. And it just took, what, 4 or 5 months? So whatever you did, you went back to, okay, we need choreography that is me, that is you, more intricate. I don't know what you did, and I'm interested to hear. But what I so admire yet again, you are not afraid to go outside of your comfort zone, do something completely different in front of the same audience, the same industry. You can put yourself out there to be scrutinized. And yet within 6 months after I saw that first show, I just thought how wonderful it is. So what happened between that October and that new choreography?
I remember that.
What is that process? What did you do after that October? Because that choreography, was not up to par. It was kind of normal, not up to your standards. And then 6 months later, wow.
I think we are talking about Millennium. No, it wasn't Millennium. It was Hollywood or something like this, right? One of those.
Hollywood, I saw you in October.
Yeah.
And then Millennium was, I believe, the other show, the new one that I thought was fantastic. And I'm telling you right now, it was fantastic because I didn't tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely, that was the beginning, and pretty, when we started with Victor, we had such a quick request of shows that we nearly couldn't catch our breath. So we put those first numbers together in a bit of a rush. And first of all, for me, it was like you just said, it was such a different style, even though I'm quite used to you fusing many styles like we did together with the Broadway shows and with Rude as well. I was quite used to it, but still, theater art is again another level of lift and that trust.
John, I just want to share for everyone else, theater arts in our industry means you're pretty much 75% in the air lifting. It is stunning to watch, but you are in the air most of the time.
Yeah. So I had the lever. So I needed to really get used to the trust. The trust was, I remember only trusting Michael to lift me a little bit above the shoulder, but not above the head. And there we go. Victor was like, "Don't worry. What you worry about? You're safe with me." And I'm like, "Yeah, I might be, but I don't feel safe. I'm scared." So it was really difficult at the beginning, and little things were not yet tuned in, and I didn't exactly know how to handle his power, and stuff like that was a bit tough. So it took a bit of a time, but mostly it was also that we had prepared one number which came out at the Millennium, I think, or it was Ohio, I don't remember. Anyway, we had prepared a number which actually grew and grew and grew better and became a great success later on. The more we embodied it, and the more I started to find myself in it. And because I've always been more about the energy and the sense of transition of one movement into another, a bit more senses and meaning behind it. So for me, if I'm thinking only about the action and the form, I get in my head and I get stuck, and it's not my style. So it took a while for me to really embody that dance and bring it to my level of performance that I'm good at. But yeah, it's not so easy, of course.
But it's and here is the for young dancers. There is two ways of thinking. You can, in a new partnership or a new choreography, you can wait forever. But when you go out on that floor for the first time, whether you do it after a month or 6 months, you're going to be nervous. You're not going to be at the level where you want because it's new. And then
Yeah,
there's the other approach. Get your shit together quickly and get it out there in
yeah,
front of everyone. And then you get all the feedback, whether it's negative or positive or constructive, then you take it with you. And then 6 months later, you have it exactly where you want to be. And I admire you because I've always been a believer. Get out there because
yeah.
it's always going to feel different. And you did that. And as a friend, I struggled because I wanted to talk to you and say, hey, you are too good for that level. And then 6 months later, I see that tape, that video on social media, and it was hot, sexy. It was deep, different, unique. It was dynamic. All what we are used to from you. And also, again, a compliment to Victor. Victor is not a ballroom dancer, and I remember him, great guy, good lifter. But when it comes to pure dance, where you are and he is, but he did a good job. He's a clever dancer. He's clever.
I mean, his background is actually theater, so, he has quite a lot of experience in theater dance and doing different shows with different girls. So he's quite capable also of doing different style of dances, like a bit more commercial and jazz and stuff like that from the theater from his early years. But
Yeah.
then he focalized much more on the exhibition theater art. So his style is very much based on lift and the strength and power. But he also,
Yeah.
well, I
Well,
would
he
say,
hit the jackpot when you said yes to him. I mean, he hit the jackpot with you, and I'm so happy to see that you found your element uh, with the one that I saw after the millennium that you posted. Last but not least, because we're done with part one, but
okay.
we're gonna look at part two because so much more to talk about. But I only know you with short hair, and
Mhm.
I'm noticing, is this the first time in your life that you're growing out your hair?
I know, yes, I think so. I'm going to here though. I don't know how long I'm gonna last, and what do you think about it?
I mean, I
Zullen
saw
we
it. It looks.
Nederlands spreken? Dan
Oh, we
zullen
kunnen
we...
Nederlands spreken. Ja,
Shit,
ik
I
vind het
remember.
heel. Ik vind het. Ja, ik bedoel, ik ken jou alleen maar met kort haar.
Wait,
Now, everyone, so just to let you know, so Joanna's from Belgium, but Belgium is two-parted. It's
yeah,
the Flemish part that is pretty much Dutch, and the
yeah,
French part. And Joanna is uit Luik, the Flemish name, or Liège, the French name. So now you can look it up. Luik or Liège is that the Dutch and the French version of the same city.
But I'm
I
from
never
Belgium.
understood that because most Belgium, well, no, Brussels is Bruges, well, no, Brugge and Bruges, but most,
Brussels, yeah, Brussels is mixed. And we also have a part of German. No? My mom comes from the German side. I was born in the French side, and my dad was born in the Flemish side. So yeah, a small country and three languages. We don't
yeah,
have
yeah,
our
yeah,
own
yeah.
stuff. I don't know. It's weird. I don't believe in countries really, to be honest.
Me
Um,
neither. Me neither. If we can just have one flag for the planet
yeah,
and we're all world citizens, we are so alike. Look, we need to talk about the Broadway show we did. We need to talk
yeah,
about you being judge on Dance with the Stars. Want to talk about Ruth Vermey,
hmm
but we have to do that in podcast number 2. Are you open to that idea?
yes, of course. I
Love
love
it.
it. It's so nice to
Love
speak
it.
to you.
Yes, and it's just because to me, what I want, and I believe, I don't even have to ask you, I know this, I can say this on behalf of us. We have a very successful career, and now it's time to give back to the younger generation. But for me, being a parent, you're a parent, young dancers struggle oftentimes not with their talent, not with their hours of physical practice. No, no, no. It's what happens at school, what happens at home, the self confidence. That's oftentimes lacking. And if
Mm,
we can, by having conversations like these and share our personal stories,
yeah,
then if that can help young dancers,
absolutely. That's
amazing.
amazing what you do. I want to add one more thing actually that we have in common very much. I still remember when you know all the things you have achieved, being a dad, being a superstar in America, building your own company, and you know everything you've built so far. You always used to speak about that, and like from a very early stage, and you also made it all happen for yourself. So it's quite incredible to see, you know, like we are very similar in that sense. We If we put something in our minds, we make it happen, and just so are you as well. So
Thank
yeah,
you. Thank you. And through the decades, you have been part of my life in different ways. And I really enjoy because you're such a person of a human of quality and a dancer of high integrity and quality diverse. So I hope this is very inspirational for dancers, non-dancers, fans of Dance with the Stars, and now you know more about one of my amazing dance partners. And I see it, I say it many times, between Julie Fryer, Joanna Leunis, Karina Smirnoff, I have been the luckiest man dancer on the
yeah,
dance floor. I mean, if you look at the diversity of the three of you, for
yeah,
me, you brought something completely different out of me because you couldn't be more different as women.
mm,
And even though Julie and you are coming from the same
cool.
background of training, but anyway, we can talk forever.
Yeah,
We will schedule a
it's true.
next one. Hopefully, we can do this soon.
Yes.
But thank
Thanks.
you, Joanna. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Louis. Love you. Thank you.
Love you more.